Not lane miles, that's actual miles. You know, when you speak, a lot of times people speak of lane miles, but that's, you know, in regards to snow plowing. So, you know, we have 25.8 miles of lane miles to plow. But we don't just do that. You know, when I talk about partnerships with the villages, we take care of Third Lake. You know, Third Lake does not have a highway department. So we plow their roads. We do roads for Gray's Lake, and we save the villages money because we do it a lot cheaper than contractor can. So.
Thanks, Bob. Jim, please.
Well, not having had the position, I guess I do need some certification, but I am certified by the state of Illinois as a trainer of trainers through IIT. Currently looking right now at the manual for the CDL examination, commercial driver's license, and also examining potential schools to go to right now, one down in Monterey, in fact. So I do have that kind of certification. I do have a degree in mass communications, so the communication part will be real key, I think, that we've all been talking about this evening. And so that's the basis of the certifications that I do have.
Okay, thanks, Jim. And if you don't mind, the next question. I'm surmising it has to do with a concern that public safety be the #1 priority for the highway commissioner, and that it has something to do with road signage, good shoulders, good drainage, pothole-free roads, and most of all, quick and safe response before and during snowstorms. Would you like to comment on this take of highway commissioner's #1 top priority?
Well, safety is the main concern, and to keep the wheels of commerce rolling all at the same time, it's kind of juggling 8 balls in the air at one time. So it's a demanding position that requires you not only to keep your eyes on the road, but to keep your eyes on the horizon and make sure that everything that you're responsible for is kept in good order, in good shape for the people. And you also have to keep one eye on the weather. You can't just be on the horizon and on the road. So I think it's really crucial that you always have your antennas up and being cautious and being, like, I don't want to keep driving through those big pools of water I saw on 134 this past week. There should have been something done in that ditch and that culvert area, things like that. You just have to have your spider senses going all the time.
Thanks, Jim. Bob, please.
Can you repeat that for me so I can
Sure.
know?
It has to do with whether or not you would agree that a #1 priority for a highway commissioner should be public safety, and they quote or refer to road signage, good shoulders, good drainage, pothole-free roads, and a quick and safe response before and during snowstorms. Would you agree with that?
Oh, sure. You know, we've always, the one thing the highway department's, the township highway department's always prided itself on was a great response for snow removal. All the guys at the highway, even not the highway commissioner, but myself and Tony, the other guy that works there, we are on the radar constantly in the wintertime. I mean, to the fact that at home my wife is yelling at me, you know, turn off the weather channel. So, but safety is always the top priority. But if I just get off the subject a little bit, public safety is always #1. But what I want to incorporate into that is lake health and how our you know, when I refer to public safety, I mean like our de-icing materials. We need to incorporate lake health into that public safety, so we're being responsible. We provide public safety, but in the same token, we incorporate lake health into that equation.
Okay, thanks, Bob. And the next question, Bob. How can salt usage be reduced properly and safely?
That's a great question. We have 5 trucks in the township right now. Although if it's just like a de-icing situation where we're just going to go out and salt, we'll take out maybe 3 trucks, sometimes 4. We have 1 truck that has a computer on it right now. That computer can monitor how much salt is going down per lane mile. And what I'd like to do over the next few years is start phasing in all the trucks that have that onboard computer. And by doing that, there's going to be an initial investment, but by doing that, we'll be able to, I think we can reduce the salt by probably 25%. And based on how much salt we use right now, translates to about $18,000 a year that we can save in a typical snow season. So that's one of the ways that I'll be looking to
Okay, Bob, thanks. Jim, please.
I think that in the time that I lived in Colorado and worked with CDOT there, they never used salt. And they use a combination of a beet juice slurry on the highways out there that's more environmentally friendly. It's a lot more expensive, but it doesn't really damage the environment. There are other ways to look at it. This sounds a little strange, but you couldn't use ground glass as a potential thing to surface on the highway. There are a lot of different ways that a lot of options that are out there. They're not all cheap, and again, salt is not cheap, but the price is coming back down. It used to be about $40 a ton, up to $100 a ton. I think it's probably back down to about $60 a ton now.
64 right now.
Yeah. So that's fluctuating all over, but there are other options to look at and things that perhaps can be even more environmentally friendly for our township.
Okay, Jim, and if you wouldn't mind the next question. Are any of you stormwater certified, and if so, how does this benefit the township?
I am not stormwater certified. However, I did meet with the folks. I went up to the Lake County Strategic Planning session and did kind of team up with the different agencies that I felt that it might be possible that we would overlap with. And we did talk about this. So I do have the information. I would pursue it, and it wouldn't be something I'd put into the Plan B file.
Thanks, Jim. Bob, please.
As I stated before, I do have that erosion control inspection certification through SMC. I've taken many seminars over at SMC as well, but that would be the extent of that right now, but so that's about it right now.
Okay, thanks, Bob. And if you wouldn't mind the next question. Sure. How important is it for the highway commissioner to know the current above and below infrastructure of the township?
I am actually I'm quite versed in the below and above ground infrastructure in the township because I built most of it below ground. Above ground, what I'd like to see is we've kind of gotten away from a planned paving schedule. We used to, under Pat, we used to have, every 7 years, the roads would get paved, budget, if the budget allowed it. We were very good about getting into a schedule of redoing the roads so the roads stayed maintained. And actually, it sounds like it's expensive, but really, if you maintain those roads and repave them on a schedule, it actually costs less than keeping them up. Because if you let them go, it costs more to rebuild them than it does if you would have taken care of them in the first place.
Okay, Jim?
The infrastructure is crucial. It should be maintained on a regular basis, and there should be a rotating schedule of how these things are maintained and kept up. And I also just want to talk about what's underneath the roads. Around this part of the country, you've got a lot of the Illinois clay. That's got the 60-year shovel you're trying to get your flower bed dug up. And it's a lot different than, let's say, in Colorado, where it was all drip and sand. And so how you treat the infrastructure is a lot different depending on where you are. There are different spots within the township that we would be serving that we'd have to have maybe even a better look down below to see what's down there, just to make sure that we're doing it properly.
Thanks, Bob. And if you wouldn't mind this last question, do you feel that the highway department is operating at peak performance? What, if any, changes would you make to get the department functioning better? Jim? Yeah.
Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it you, Bob? Good. See, you want to know for attention. Okay. More so than the moderator. Okay.
Repeat it again.
Sure. He was paying so much attention. Okay. Do you feel that the highway department is operating at peak performance, and what, if any, changes would you make to make it functioning better?
I think the way any department runs is, should always be open to scrutiny, and we should always be looking at ways that we can improve it. Do we do a good job right now? We do. Can we do better? Always. I mean, there's always ways to do better. Like I spoke about, reducing salt usage, and Jim mentioned beet juice. Actually, we use ThermoPoint. I just wanted to bring that up real quick. We use ThermoPoint, and that is actually very cheap. Actually, to be honest with you, it's a very low cost way to help keep the ice off the roads. But to answer your question, you should always be scrutinizing what you do to make everything work better.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. That was great. Jim, and you've got the final word here.
Okay, I think that one of the things that I noticed that has more to do with the dollars and cents in the budget, And what I saw was not necessarily something to be devious, but just a hand of inexperience in setting up a budget. And I noticed that there were $300,000 budgeted for grants, and yet only $7,800 were actually realized. That's less than 3%. So, and to anyone keeping a ledger or watching the balance of the books of a township like Avon, that's got to drive you nuts because you're not even coming close. So I think we need to really keep an eye on that budget to make sure that it's run properly, that it's realistic, and it does provide the maximum service that we can provide for the people in Avon Township.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Thank you, John. Douglas, was your response to a highway commissioner concern?
No, it was to when George put that comment.
Okay, we have a little time here, so, and Patty, we'll get to you, but if it had to do with this group here, what did you have to say? And Douglas, if it's any help, I don't even remember my children's names from time to time, so, okay.
Clearly. I think George brought up a good fact that we've been trying to get across to the voters as to why the township is relevant. As long as our market values stay low, the funds, especially in the biggest taxing body, which is the school districts, it keeps those funds high because it's inversely proportional. When market values go up, those rates go down. When market values come down, they go up. So it's inversely proportional. So I see the township as being part of the solution. The more amenities that we could bring to the township with partnering with the municipalities, whether it's youth services, senior services, it enhances the living conditions for the township and hopefully makes it more amicable for people to purchase a home here and for businesses to open here. So that's the only way that we're really going to push market values back up is by really making it a better place to live. And the township does have an impact on that because we do cover 7 municipalities. So that I see that the biggest impact that we have been used the township for is really the amenities that we offer within the township to bring property values back up and attract new businesses to absorb property taxes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. I normally wouldn't do this, but we've got a lot of time tonight since we have a lot of empty seats here, so. Okay, let's go on. We've got one more wonderful piece here to review. And that is for the office of the township clerk. The township clerk is the official record keeper of the board. The clerk serves as a clerk of the board of trustees of the road district, of the local election authority, and as the keeper of all township records, except for the general assistance case studies. So we've got 2 candidates running for this office. One of them is with us this evening, Miss Patricia Smart. So Patty, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Hi, my name is Patty Smart. I've lived in Round Lake area for 28 years. I've raised 2 children in the Grace Lake schools. They're both college educated. I've known most of the people here, I think, and everybody in the community because I've waitressed in the town for 25 years. That's how most people know me. I serve on an elected position already as secretary of the library board, and I'm also president of the Friends. And I have an appointed position as vice president of the Round Lake Beach Cultural Civic Center board. I've served on many committees. I've co-chaired many different functions. I would just like to say that I am very excited and very proud to be working with the team that I have, Avon Strong. I have learned so much in the last 3 months. Whether I win this election or I don't win this election, it has all been in our favor. The strengths that I have created for myself, the tasks that I have performed already, I never thought I would. I've taken it upon myself to do an Open Meetings Act class, a FOIA class, and I've already registered as a notary public, just in case the opportunity were to come that I win. So I have been working very hard by myself and with my team members. So, thank you.
Thanks, Betty. And a few questions. Actually, one of them has to do with how knowledgeable you are in the Open Meetings Act. Have you passed the Open Meetings test?
I have.
And let me just point out, I happen to be an official in Lake Bluff. Anybody serving on a public board has to take and pass the Public Open Meetings Act. It's online, but it takes hours to do.
Yes, it is.
It's
Electronically challenged, so this is very difficult for me.
And you think your life is at stake as you're taking it.
Absolutely. So if anything, I am so proud.